The UN treats us as amusement. The US tax code treats us as leisure. And so how do we work together collectively around the globe to change that narrative and position us all as health?
This is All Things Fitness and Wellness, uniting industry thought leaders and fitfluencers on the mission to inspire innovation and encourage people to live a life fit and well.
The HFA Show is where the global fitness industry comes together. It's where we get to see the latest technology, what operators are saying in regards to opportunities and pain points, and to get together to talk about policy initiatives. So I traveled the show floor with Liz Clark and Mike Goscinski to get the latest from this year's show, as well as what's to come. Because I love there's always those elements of innovation. So what were some of the new additions that really got a lot of attention?
Well, I'll tell you one that I just came from, Innovation Alley, sponsored by Sweatworks, thank you. And it was for basically first-time people that have never been here to come and do pitches of what they're doing, quick little hits, just 2 minutes up there, what they do. And it's been really cool. In fact, we limited the size of that.
Yeah.
It's sold out. And then we expanded it and it's sold out again.
It's great. They're actually here on the floor, so they have a smaller booth space, but so it allows for those startup companies to come in and exhibit for the first time when they're looking for backing. They decided to expand it out, but actually this year it's incredible. We have nearly 60 companies debuting new products. Because one of the things about the show that people don't realize is we are the first show in the calendar year, and we're the largest show in the Western Hemisphere. So we're bringing in people to talk about new products and launch products here for the first time, which is incredible because then by the time they get to other shows, people have already seen it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really emulate the variety that's in this industry.
One of the coolest things that I've seen is, and this is just selfish, it's a tripod stand that you can put, the massage guns on. That way you can get your back in places that you can't reach.
I haven't seen
without
that.
anybody being near. So
All right, I
that's
gotta
pretty
see that.
Of course, it's not just about the products that are here and people doing the deals on the floor. It's also about what the industry stands for. So what's the current temperature check? Because from my vantage point on the conversations that I've been having, a lot of positivity in the air.
Listen, I think the moment is ours right now. We've been talking about this for a few years, that we really got to change the narrative about what we do, is that we're preventative health care. Like what we're doing is important, and it's really important for your mental health, your physical health, but really about not being a burden on the medical system here. And so the cool thing is I think people are starting to get it.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny because we talk about the trade show, we're walking around on the floor, but we're actually a massive education conference that goes on. Yeah. And throughout the past 3 days, a lot of the conversations have been around positioning the industry as preventive health, but also making sure that the industry is ready and creditable, because ultimately when that day comes, when people are and doctors and clinicians are referring people into this industry, they have to be able to trust it. And so that's a lot of the things that we're working on across the board that we bring here as well, and we're bringing it onto the show floor.
Tell me a little bit about the attendance and where from.
Last I heard, and this was a couple days ago, we had already hit over 10,000.
From 64 countries.
Yeah. And the amount of people that show up on site is huge, but we've been so busy I haven't even been able to check the numbers.
We have over 385 booths on the floor, people exhibiting here on the floor as well. Again, and those come from all over the world too. So we have international companies exhibiting. I just sat down with a delegation from Japan that's talking through some ways that we can partner with their federations, because one of the things that we also do is partner with federations around the globe, bring them here so that they're able to elevate their industries, they're able to elevate what they're doing in their region, that we and help elevate how we can help them.
What have been some of the common pain points you're talking?
I mean, it's incredible. Everybody understands that this industry, while it's booming everywhere, we do have that reputation problem that Liz said. So that's a lot of where we're focusing our time and energy of trying to change the narrative. But I think some of the other things is the simple understanding of how we're labeled and how we're treated. The UN treats us as amusement. The US tax code treats us as leisure. And so how do we work together collectively around the globe to change that narrative and position us all as health?
So what's the game plan then from here? Because I know busy many days on site, but it's kind of like the work begins. Everybody unifies, and the change doesn't happen from just your voices. It's bringing the industry and educating the industry along.
So we do a really important event in Washington, D.C. in May, where we bring operators from across the country to talk about not only how their employers, what they're doing in their communities, but about business challenges that they're having. And it's everything from sales tax issues, liability waivers, all the stuff that matters to our guys that they live and breathe day in and day out. So they're up here doing all this. But if we don't have a safe and good and encouraging business environment.
And one of the things that we can bring to those conversations, specifically coming out of here to Washington, is all of the stuff that we're looking at, all of the equipment that you see, is costing a lot more to make right now and costing a lot more to purchase because of the tariffs and stuff that are in place. And so when we are able to unite the industry in Washington and show policymakers the united front, it can help change the narrative, help change the understanding, but also just help tell the story about the real world impacts that policy decisions have on their businesses.
When it comes to real world impacts, research is imperative.
Yes.
That seems to be a lane you're really driving home.
So our research arm is humming like it never has before. We're releasing a research report a month, focusing on 2 different areas, right? So we're not only releasing things that help our operators benchmark and plan for their business. We have a fit tracker that comes out that allows for heat map and geolocating to see what segments of the industry are getting the most traffic per quarter. So that's awesome. We're getting ready to launch a brand new, as you mentioned, tool that will help us in the advocacy space, that's connecting the dots between GLP-1s and structured exercise, and how if governments are going to invest to subsidize the GLP-1, they have to subsidize the physical activity as well, because the impact on the healthcare economy is going to be tremendously larger if they do that when they're talking about these weight loss drugs and getting them into the market.
So you have plenty to keep you busy before the next HFA, but if people are already doing their plan ahead, where is it taking place?
So one of the cool things, Krissy, is that, so obviously we've got this cute show, which is awesome, but we're also partnering with people around the world. So we're doing an event in Mexico City next year. And then we'll also be in Dubai, and we'll be in London, and we'll be in Japan.
I was going to say, I just went with the delegation from Japan to talk about being in Japan in July.
Yeah. But the one we really got to plug, though, is London, right?
Yes.
London, in September, end of September.
Our European Congress is our flagship European event, and we bring it's a really great, strong education program uniting the industry across the European region.
Yeah, partnering with UK Active and working with David Minton, who's also a tremendous, I think you were talking about research, tremendous wealth of information in the European.
And then going back to next year, we'll be in Las Vegas again next year for the HFA Show, which is extremely exciting and can't wait. It was always a fun time when we're in Vegas.
What do you find when it comes to that global perspective that is universal?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not, Mike can probably speak more on the learning side, but the one thing that I'll say is consistent across the world, growth.
Yeah.
Everybody is growing, and like rapidly.
Yeah.
So we're looking at penetration rates, and obviously here in the US, we're the highest, almost 25% of people belong to a gym or a fitness center. And so there's just so much growth. And so many, you'll see it, right? Like all the modalities and things going on like that. I think when you ask about research consistently, I think that there continues to be challenges around music rights, video rights, sales tax issues. Those type of things are unfortunately consistent.
And global problems.
Yeah.
And I could say, I think also one of the things that we're hearing when we're talking with our federation partners and talking about what is that shared through line of what we're all struggling with, I don't necessarily see it as much as a struggle as it is the opportunity, right? It's the massive expansions, right? Fitness is mainstream now, and it's mainstream everywhere, not just here in the United States. And as those emerging markets grow, they need to know how to be a sophisticated industry, just like this industry needed to learn how to do here in the United States. I continuously go back to, whenever I remember it, I'm shocked that this industry is only 60 years old. And so having a 60-year-old industry, that's a baby on an industry level scale, if you think about it. And the amount of emergence that has happened and the incredible growth that we've seen, not only here in the United States, but around the globe, is just a tremendous opportunity for both operators and us alike.
Well, and if I could touch on something, because you just talked about the emergence of the industry. And one of the coolest things I think about this event is we've started the Hall of Fame event, where we're honoring sort of the legends in this industry that are really the founders of how we got here. So we kicked this whole event off with this Hall of Fame We inducted 7 new inductees this year, but people like legends like Elaine Lane, who turns 100 years old tomorrow, 100 years young, really. But it's a pretty important and powerful, I think, thing to be a part of as we start and we talk about the business. But we wouldn't have the business if we didn't have the people.
Yeah. In addition to Jack and Elaine Lane, we inducted Gail Landers from Fitness Formula Club, Joe Cerulli, again, legends in their own right.
Philip Mills,
Chuck Runyon, and Dave Mortensen, and Ann Beth Eschbach. Well, just incredible cast in for the second class of the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's one thing to celebrate the legends, but sometimes new legends are born. So we're going to end the interview to find out who's the better pick.
Oh, well. She's my boss, so she's always the one that wins.
You've just listened to the All Things Fitness and Wellness podcast, hosted by Krissy Vann. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry insiders and influencers. Together, we're on a mission for everyone to live a life fit and well.